Shalom. This is Read the Bible in a Year, day 118. So we are reading 1 Chronicles chapters 14 through 16. On page 862 in the scriptures, if that's what you're following along in. Otherwise, if it's King James or New King or anything else, I don't know. But here we are. Chapter 14. And Hiram, sovereign of Sor, sent messengers to David and cedar trees with stonemasons and carpenters to build him a house. And David knew that Yahweh had established him as a sovereign over Israel, for his reign was highly exalted for the sake of his people Israel. And David took more wives in Jerusalem, and David brought forth more sons and daughters. And these are the names of his children whom he had in Jerusalem: Shammua, and Shobab, Nathan, and Shilomah, and Yibhar, and Elishua, and Eliphet, El-Pelet, and Nogah, and Nepheg, and Yaphiah, and Elishama, and Bel-Eliada, and Eliphelet. And when the Philistines heard that David had been anointed sovereign over all Israel, all the Philistines went up to seek David, and David heard and went out against them. And the Philistines came and made a raid on the valley of Rephaim. And David inquired of Elohim, saying, Do I go up against the Philistines? And shall you give them into my hand? And Yahweh said to him, Go up, and I shall give them into your hand. And they went up to Baal Perazim, and David struck them there. Then David said, Elohim has broken through my enemies by my hand, like the breakthrough of water. So they called the name of that place Baal Perazim. And they left their mighty ones there, so David commanded, and they were burned with fire. And the Philistines once again made a raid on the valley. And David again inquired of Elohim, and Elohim said to him, Do not go up after them, go around them, and come upon them from the front of the mulberry trees. And it shall be, when you hear a sound of stepping in the tops of the mulberry trees, then go out to battle, for Elohim shall go out before you to strike the camp of the Philistines. And David did as Elohim commanded him, and they struck the army of the Philistines from Gibeon as far as Gezer. And the name of David went out into all the lands, and Yahweh put the dread of him upon all nations. Chapter 15. And he built houses for himself in the city of David, and he prepared a place for the ark of Elohim, and pitched a tent for it. Then David said, No one is to lift the ark of Elohim but the Levites, for Yahweh has chosen them to lift the ark of Elohim and to serve him forever. And David assembled all Israel at Jerusalem to bring up the ark of Yahweh to its place, which he had prepared for it. And David gathered the children of Aaron and the Levites, the sons of Kehath, Uriel the chief, and 120 of his brothers of the sons of Merari, Asaiah the chief, and the 220 of his brothers of the sons of Gershom, Yoel the chief, and 130 of his brothers, the sons of Elitzaphan, Shemaiah the chief, and 200 of his brothers of the sons of Hebron, Eliel the chief, and 80 of his brothers, and the sons of Uziel, Aminadab the chief, and 112 of his brothers. And David called for Zadok and Abiathar the priests, for the Levites, for Uriel, Asaiah, and Yoel, and Shemaiah, and Eliel, and Aminadab, and said to them, You are the heads of the fathers' houses of the Levites. Set yourselves apart, you and your brothers, then you shall bring up the ark of Yahweh, Elohim of Israel, to the place I have prepared for it, because you did not do it the first time, Yahweh your Elohim broke out against us because we did not ask him about the right ruling. So the priests and the Levites set themselves apart to bring up the ark of Yahweh Elohim of Israel, and the children of the Levites bore the ark of Elohim on their shoulders by its poles, and as Moshe had commanded according to the word of Yahweh. And David spoke to the leaders of the Levites to appoint their brothers and the singers with the instruments of song, harps, and lyres and cymbals to lift up the voice with joy. And the Levites appointed Heman, son of Yoel, and of his brothers, Asaph, son of Berechiahu, and of their brothers, the sons of Merari, Ethan, son of Cushayahu, and with them their brothers of the second rank, Zechariahu, Ben, and Yaaziel, and Shemiramoth, and Yehiel, and Uni, Eliab, and Benayahu, and Maaseyahu, and Matityahu, and Eliphelehu, or Eliphelehu. There we go. And Mechneyahu, and Obed-Edom, and Yeiel, the gatekeepers. And the singers Heman, Asaph, and Ethan were to sound the cymbals of bronze, Zechariah and Aziel, and Shamiramoth, and Yehiel, and Uni, and Eliab, and Maaseyahu, and Benayahu, with harps according to Alamoth. And Matithyahu, and Eliphelehu, and Mechneyahu, and Obed-Edom, and Yeiel, and Azazyahu, to lead with lyres on the Sheminith. I don't know what that is. Okay, these names are fatiguing. There we are, verse 22. And Cananiahu, leader of the Levites in song, instructed in the song because he was killed. And Berechiah and Elkanah were doorkeepers for the ark. And Shebaniahu and Yoshaphat, and Nathanael, and Amasai, and Zechariahu, and Benayahu, and Eleazar, the priests, were to blow the trumpets before the ark of Elohim, and Obed-Edom and Yehiah were doorkeepers for the ark. And it was David and the elders of Israel and the commanders over thousands who went to bring up the ark of the covenant of Yahweh to the house of Obed-Edom, from the house of Obed-Edom, with joy. And it came to be, when Elohim helped the Levites who bore the ark of the covenant of Yahweh, that they slaughtered 7 bulls and 7 rams. And David was dressed in a robe of fine linen, as were all the Levites who bore the ark, and singers, and Kenaniah the leader of the service with the singers. And David wore a linen shoulder garment. So all Israel brought up the ark of the covenant of Yahweh, with shouting, and with a voice of shofar, and trumpets, and cymbals, and sounding with harps and lyres. And it came to be, as the ark of the covenant of Yahweh came to the city of David, that Michal, the daughter of Shaul, looking through a window, saw sovereign David dancing and playing, and she despised him in her heart. chapter 16. And they brought the ark of Elohim and set it in the midst of the tent that David had pitched for it. And they brought ascending offerings and peace offerings for Elohim. And when David had made an end offering, the ascending offerings and the peace offerings, he blessed the people in the name of Yahweh, and gave a portion to every one of Israel, both man and woman, and every one a loaf of bread, a measure, and a cake of raisins. And he appointed some of the Levites to serve before the ark of Yahweh, and to praise Yahweh Elohim of Israel. Asaph the chief, and his second, Zechariah, Yeiel, and Shemi-Ramoth, and Yeiel, Yehiel, and Mattithiah, and Eliab, and Benayahu, and Obed-Edom, and Yeiel, with harps and lyres, but Asaph was sounding with cymbals. And Benayahu and Yahaziel, the priest, continually blew the trumpets before the ark of the covenant of Elohim. And on that day David first gave thanks to Yahweh by the hand of Asaph and his brothers. Give thanks to Yahweh. Call upon his name. Make known his deeds among the peoples, and sing to him. Sing praises to him. Speak of all his wonders. Boast in his set-apart name. Let the hearts of those seeking Yahweh rejoice. Seek Yahweh and his strength. Seek his face continually. Remember his wonders which he has done, his signs and right rulings of his mouth. O seed of Israel, his servant. O children of Jacob, his chosen ones. He is Yahweh our Elohim. His right rulings are in all the earth. Remember his covenant forever, the word he commanded for 1,000 generations, which he made with Abraham, and his oath to Isaac, and he established to Jacob for a law, to Israel as an everlasting covenant, saying, to you I give the land of Canaan, the portion of your inheritance, when you were but a few in number, few indeed, and sojourners in it. And they went up and down from one nation to another, and from one reign to another people, and he allowed no one to oppress them. And he reproved sovereigns for their sake, saying, do not touch my anointed ones, and do my prophets no evil. Sing to Yahweh all the earth. Proclaim his deliverance from day to day. Declare his esteem among the nations, his wonders among all peoples. For great is Yahweh, and greatly to be praised. He is to be feared above all mighty ones, for all the mighty ones of the peoples are matters of naught. But Yahweh made the heavens. Excellency and splendor are before him. Strength and gladness are in his place. Ascribe to Yahweh, O clans of the peoples. Ascribe to Yahweh esteem and strength. Ascribe to Yahweh esteem of his name. Bring an offering and come before him. Bow yourself to Yahweh in the splendor of set-apartness. Tremble before him, all the earth. The world also is firmly established, immovable. Let the heavens rejoice, and let the earth be glad, and let them say among the nations, Yahweh shall reign. Let the sea roar, and all that fills it. Let the field rejoice, and all that is in it. Let the trees of the forest then sing before Yahweh, for he shall come to judge the earth. Give thanks to Yahweh, for he is good, for his loving commitment is everlasting. And say, save us, O Elohim, of our deliverance, and gather us together, and deliver us from the nations, to give thanks to your set-apart name, and boast in your praise. Blessed be Yahweh, Elohim of Israel, from everlasting to everlasting. And all the people said, Amen, and praised Yahweh. So he left Asaph and his brothers there before the ark of the covenant of Yahweh to perform regular service before the ark, as each day required. Also, Obed-Edom with his 68 brothers, including Obed-Edom, son of Jeduthun, and Hosah, to be gatekeepers, and Zadok the priest and his brothers, the priests, before the dwelling place of Yahweh at the high place that was at Gibeon, to offer ascending offerings to Yahweh on the slaughter place of ascending offering regularly, morning and evening, to do according to all that was written in, or all that is written in the Torah of Yahweh, which he had commanded Israel. And with him Heman and Jeduthun and the rest who were chosen, who were designated by name to give thanks to Yahweh, because his loving commitment is everlasting. And with them Heman and Jeduthun, to sound aloud with trumpets and cymbals and instruments for the songs of Elohim, and the sons of Jeduthun for the gate. And all the people went, each one to his house, and David returned to bless his house. All right, that's it. Chapters 14, 15, and 16. Tomorrow we'll continue in 1 Chronicles 17. Shalom.